What a journey this Corvette has been on over the past couple months in our possession after sitting in a storage unit for more than 3 years. Forgotten about, abandoned, neglected. Actually, the owner just lost the key. One way or another, we weren't going to pass up on the opportunity to grab this 50th anniversary supercharged C5 Z06. You've already seen how the story ends, but join me on the journey of what it took to get this Corvette back on the road.
I bought this car 5 years ago. I didn't plan on getting rid of it. I had to make a life change, decided I was going to move back to the coast. It's been sitting for 3 years, haven't done anything with it.
And the keys got lost 3 years ago, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can tell she's been sitting for a little bit. Got some nice tires on the back here. Probably a little bit old at this point, though. Oh, yeah, 2008. Those are gonna have to be replaced. I think I might be able to get into this to get it open. How many miles are on the car? I don't even know how many miles are on the car.
I'm gonna guess between 45 and 55. It might be like 58.
So pretty low.
I put personally maybe 400 miles on it.
Man, it looks like it's got like a system in the back.
It's got 212s.
And you bought the car as it is. You didn't change anything?
No. And then obviously the keys never came up.
Yep. I'm used to doing it on cars that are wrecked and, you know, beat up and so on and so forth. So it's a lot more nerve-wracking on a car that you actually want to keep nice.
Yeah, you don't want to mess up.
You know what I mean? There we go. You can just tell cars that were built like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like they all have the blue and red fittings and like the red rails. Now the fun begins because we have to get this thing out of the storage unit and turn to get onto the trailer without being able to turn the wheel because we don't have a key. All right, fingers crossed these ones release properly. Well, it could have gone worse, but it definitely didn't go smoothly. It's loaded on the trailer though. We are headed back to the shop to dive into this thing. Go ahead and take a look, bro.
Do we know who built it or anything?
Nope.
Or anything? Nothing.
It has head studs, I believe.
Definitely has head studs.
So we know it has a cam.
That looks like a big ass head unit.
Yeah, you can see all the way down there. Hopefully, zoom in. Head studs. Little Novi 2000, which
It's got a big old throttle body and stuff on it. Like,
it might make some power. LS6 car should make a solid maybe 650, 700, something like that. No?
You blow that thing to pieces.
I don't know.
Blow yourself to pieces.
When we opened the storage unit, there was a dead mouse, not like in front of the thing, but this thing definitely had a mouse in it. Son of a...
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll give you 5K.
Yeah, get back to work, Eric. So it looks like we can get a key program from a Chevy dealership for this, which kind of raises the question on why the previous owner didn't. They're giving us a little bit of trouble with the proof of ownership because I don't have the title in my name yet. But we might go ahead and just get keys cut for this thing as opposed to swapping the ignition on it, and then you'll have a different ignition set than what the doors are, so on and so forth.
Oh, man.
All right, so moment of truth. See how much fuel is actually in this thing.
Is the battery hooked up?
Nope. I guess we are gonna have to do that, aren't we?
We will need power.
That would have been very anticlimactic.
Yes, it would have. We have a couple of things here. We got mileage to learn. We got fuel to learn. It's funny we're worried about fuel.
$50,435.
He was dead in the middle.
Wow. Push her inside, and we gotta get the fuel out and change the oil on it. And oh, is the steering wheel still locked? Uh-oh.
So first we got to read it.
Yay!
All right.
So we ended up having to swap the BCM. That BCM is our test BCM, which matches that key there from the same car, which is how we ended up getting the steering column off. Well, steering column lock off. Steering column still attached.
Start it? Start it?
No, not yet. We got to drain the fuel. Corvette professional here to give us his opinion on it. The one thing that we noticed when we were outside and did the initial inspection with everybody else, this is a lot of blower for this motor.
I don't know that much about blower sizing. You guys remember how some turbos back in the day, they were huge, even though they didn't make a ton of power. This looks old as dirt to me, in my professional Corvette expert opinion. So maybe it's just big for big's sake. It's not like, I don't know, a modern, I don't know what I'm getting at here. We just got to get the thing running, get it started up. But first, can we talk about the fact that this car's electron blue, and I'm just learning that? When he said he was going to pick up a cheap Corvette, I assumed it was going to be silver, maybe black, best case scenario. And then I walk in the shop and see an electron blue.
It was a good enough deal. We were jumping on it one way or another. And this beautiful paint here that we're going to spend a little bit more time with later in the video just happened to be a bonus.
What's that say about us that we were on the way to buy a car cash in hand without even knowing what color it was? Well, not we, you.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're just going to put this right on me, Carrington, huh?
Well, I think we all know I would do this. You're the one that's usually pretty thorough about things, so they might be surprised that you were doing this.
I already got myself trusty little hose line here. We are going to pop off this fitting on the end of the fuel rail, hook the line up to it, drain the bad gas into some cans here, fresh oil change. And then what are you giving us odds-wise? This thing just fires right up, Carrington. I think we're at least like
8.5 to 1.
Yeah, I was going to say 75, 80%. Yeah, I think we're good to go. That this thing, we might be driving it by the end of the night tonight.
Oh, we'll be driving it. One thing I do know, however, is I want to say a big thank you to whoever left the titanium mufflers on there. Everybody hacks these things off. Don't do it. I know some people cut these when they have to uninstall them. That's really dumb on titanium, I'd say, but...
The only thing, and some of the C5 experts can definitely let us know, I'm curious what it does as far as flow, because these are a little bit smaller diameter piping. It looks like that's maybe like 2.5 all the way back, as opposed to a full 3-inch. Yeah, see, it steps down right here.
Yeah, I'm sure it doesn't flow as well, but it's part of C5 Z06. Unless you're putting... well, I guess a blower on it. That was what I was about to say, and well...
Yeah, it's got one. So, well, that might also be something that might be restricting it up just a little bit. You added an O2 bung relatively poorly and then cut off your O2 sensor.
How does someone go from welding titanium and having it look halfway decent to doing this stuff? But hey, maybe it's two different people.
Okay.
Oh my God. This is definitely an old kit. I love the hard 90, I guess. Charge pipe? Is that what we call it on blowers? I'm not a blower guy.
Oh, okay. So they kind of added tabs on the radiator. Or that's a modified radiator assembly. Yeah, they made that. Okay. Yeah, that goes up there attached to the sway bar. Jammed in between a power steering cooler.
I'll give them this though, like this is very, very basic and old school, but it doesn't fit nearly as bad as some of like the new modern turbo kit builds we've had in here, which you can vouch for have been terrible.
I'm still optimistic that this thing is going to make some serious power.
I'm guessing on the dyno, how much?
560.
I was gonna say 512, which
No.
is low. It's low. But keep in mind, to the wheels, what do these cars make? Like 340 or something like that? And you got an old ass blower on it. 512 on the dyno.
I'm going over 600. It's got meth injection, Carrington. We told you that point,
True,
right?
but is it working?
It's a good point. I'm gonna fill it up just in case, one way or another.
Are we going lowest number wins if it just blows the motor on the dyno, or?
Yeah, I think that's probably safe to say. Whoever bets $1. So that.
1 horsepower, Bob.
Luckily, the blower is engine oil lubricated, so we don't have to worry anything about the oil that's running through that, which is nice. I was worried we were gonna have to drain the blower also. But, all right, well here, while we're under it, why don't we get the oil drained out of it?
I'm already
Oh, Carrington.
You gotta tell me I'm ready to drain this oil.
He's on top of it. All right, that does not look bad at all. It just looks black.
That's all right. I take it black over full of metal and gold.
Yeah, this ain't no Porsche, that's for sure.
Yo, I'm gonna go home right now.
Absolutely nothing on it.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, just some old oil, that's all.
This oil's oily.
Nothing interesting.
Nope, looks good.
Get some fresh oil in it. You want to take the oil over there, Carrington? We got that fresh battery that just showed up. We are getting close here now that that fuel is out of it.
I just know you guys aren't waiting for me to spill a drop so you can say something, because it ain't gonna happen.
Oh! Come on! Come on, man. Time was expiring. You had it.
I got cocky, all right? I hate Corvette battery locations.
She ain't going nowhere.
She is not.
All right.
Well, guess it's about that time, huh?
Okay. Is it giving you anything on the dash?
No, not even security lights.
Coil pack's all hooked up. Yeah, fuel's there. You said it has fuel pressure.
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't like delete the tune out of this thing the other day, did you, bro? Alright, no codes. Let's I guess let's check some fuses real quick. Nope, good.
I think this guy's gonna fix the car. He can't even figure out how to plug the cable in. What?
Hell yeah!
That's the problem right
I don't think it's giving me. I think this should.
So the injectors?
I would think that, yeah, I think it should have pulse. I'm pretty sure that that's what that is. I'm pretty sure that's injector pulse.
Isn't there a fuse box under the...
There's a fuse box on the passenger floor.
Nope.
Dry.
Bone dry. So maybe something injector-wise. So far, the scoreboard reads 1-0 in favor of the Corvette. We have a little bit of research to do here. It looks like for whatever reason, the fuel injectors are not firing. Possible there's a communication error with the BCM key combo that we put in. It's causing some sort of issue, even though VATS is turned off and we've done this before, but maybe for some reason on this car, it's causing some sort of issue. I am going to steal a ground strap off of this convenient C7 that is parked right next to our C5. Make sure that we don't have some weird grounding issue with the motor that's keeping this thing from firing. But right now, after doing a little bit of research, we are leaning towards the security disabling the injectors. Even though we have VATS turned off, there's multiple layers in the system that we think that we have to sync the BCM to the PCM. So we are going to just try a couple of the cheap, easy things real quick, just to double check. Otherwise, we have an appointment scheduled for somebody to come out to program this thing, and that should hopefully be what lets us get this thing fired. I don't think anybody in the history of working on cars has ever said that having too many ground straps is an issue. So I think this will be fine one way or another, even if this doesn't completely fix the problem that we're having.
All right, so what we're gonna try to rule out theft deterrent or security system deterrent is we're gonna go to the VATS relay that's in the fuse box, and we're going to jump around it to give this power to the system that it needs. And if it starts, then we know we either have a relay issue or a security issue. If it still doesn't start, then we know that we have a car issue and not a VATS or security issue.
Sounds the same.
Yep. A lot of people were saying crank sensor involves ignition or injector firing.
Yeah, and so maybe if we scan this thing again,
I scanned it just a couple minutes ago. It's got nothing. The only problem is I don't know if it will give that signal without the car running prior. Although I'm getting a fluctuation in fuel pressure.
How big a fluctuation?
Like 60, 55, 60, 55, 60, 55 while it's cranking.
Huh.
Which that would lead me to believe that it's firing an injector.
Well, a little bit of time has passed with the C5 Z06 here. We were kind of scratching our heads chasing those electrical issues and didn't want to do shotgun mechanics and just throw parts at it, which ultimately is kind of what it needed. It did have a couple bad sensors, but the main root of the problem was some of the injectors. We have some local resources, one of them being Complete Street Performance. So I reached out to them, said, hey guys, we're kind of beating our head against a wall, not really getting where we need to get with this car to get it running. They said, bring it up. And it runs. We're up here today. We're going to be dynoing the car. I have not even heard the car run, so I'm super excited to hear it run. I hear them in there loading the thing on the dyno, so we're going to head in, go ahead, see how much power this thing makes, and see how good it actually runs and drives now. Oh, there it is. What a sight for sore eyes.
I do not prefer to be called it. Like, that's just, I go by he.
You guys already know who this is. He's back. Andrew
from CSP.
Tuning it today. What have you guys figured out with this thing?
Well, we haven't figured out much.
It runs though.
It does.
It runs though.
It runs. You wanted to be here for the dyno, so like you are in person for its either first success or first failure since we got a hold of it.
Fingers crossed for the success side of things. I haven't heard this thing run yet.
Either way, it's going to be entertaining. So what we did was replace the injectors with a Deca 80s, Siemens Deca 80s, and she's firing, she's running. We don't know if we're going to run out of fuel. We don't know if the meth pump works. We don't know a lot of stuff about this thing. We're going to find out together.
So it didn't sound too bad. How did it look though?
The base tune's pretty darn good here. We're aiming for an 11.5 air fuel ratio. The base tune's like dead nuts on, which is awesome.
Good.
So, however, there is a problem.
Uh-oh.
The oil pressure is pretty low at idle.
Really?
Yeah. Now, sometimes with a looser engine, this is a built engine, I believe. You don't know? You're not sure?
We don't know.
We don't know. Okay.
We don't know.
So sometimes with a looser engine, like if it's built, it might be a little lower. But this is getting rough for comfort. It's 16 psi at idle right now,
Which is pretty low.
Yeah, we're in danger of spinning a bearing. Sometimes the factory cars will run off of it. But normally, when you have like a camshaft and springs, the oil pressure is enough to start collapsing lifters then, because of the extra spring pressure. It's up to you if we want to continue. Like we probably never got it hot enough because we never did any full throttle to be able to determine this ahead of time. I mean, Alex did say that it smells like fuel, so maybe it is diluted.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we're running into. But we do have some good stuff from Driven here. Like we got, I used a 50 weight of mine. Mine was a little low oil pressure, and that 50 weight definitely saved it. So, okay, so we got Driven GT50 racing oil.
So I'm sure you guys might be yelling at us in the comment section right now, and we're truly trying to think through this logically. I was kind of naive to think that we could basically just pull this thing out of a storage unit, program a set of keys to it, and it would be like completely fine, especially given that this build looks like that it was done a long time ago. So we're going to kind of take it slow here. The oil change very well might not fix it, but it also might put us in a little bit better spot where we're not wasting a whole bunch of time having this thing on the dyno and having it up here essentially for nothing. But we're not going to be pushing it unless we really think that we're in a better spot. So we'll kind of just do baby steps here and we'll see where it goes.
We have fire extinguishers ready to go.
Perfect. Looking much better?
I mean, I'm pretty happy with it so far. It's making about 10 pounds of boost. The oil pressure is staying good. It's not incredible, but it's like after that last pull, it was like 22 to 24, kind of fluctuating in that area, which is fine for, you know, a hot temperature. And then as the coolant cooled the engine down, since it's got like a 160 degree thermostat in here, it started going back up, so that's great. That's you know what we want to see. Everything looks really smooth. I'm going to add another degree of timing to it because, you know, why not? And like we'll see where it lines up. I don't know, it's making enough power that depending on which rods are in here, I don't know like how far you want to press it. Take it back down a degree, put it back at the 600. I don't think the extra degree is worth 10 horsepower. It's like barely 10. The meth pump's not working, so that's fuel pressure is dropping.
Okay.
So it's kind of a little all over the place. A variable amount of fuel pressure up top. So even though it went a little rich, I'm going to leave it there since the car has no idea what it's doing. It's got a couple PSI spread. So I'll leave it a little rich there. You know, we haven't exploded it yet. Might as well like continue with that trend.
So you heard the man. The tables have turned a little bit for us. The fortunes are favoring us. As he said, back it down a degree. It's going to make right about that 600 number, which I think is a completely respectable number. I'm completely content with that, especially because the meth system is not working. We're not even going to open up that can of worms. We're not even going to deal with it. We're going to get this thing back to the shop in one piece, as he said, and whoever ends up buying this thing, they can deal with it.
I mean, 600 is like the perfect street car, and essentially a car that came out of a storage unit.
Yeah.
Did you guys look at it first?
No.
A car that came out of a storage unit, sight unseen, just needed injectors and a proper tune, and 600 wheel all day. I'd take that.
And you heard him. He said 600 wheel all day, and we plan on putting that to the test a little bit later.
Oh no. Don't blame the tuner.
what a fun little street car this thing is. Just enough rowdy, but still within control. I was going to do an entire segment with this car detailing it and getting the paint brought back to life, but then Lee went and did an entire video detailing his ZR1. That, along with the fact that we are going to sell this car in a little bit different fashion than we normally do, I'm going to leave you all with maybe a little bit of a cliffhanger here at the end. This car is going to be listed in an auction format on eBay Motors starting sometime in the second week of March. So if you are interested in a beautiful supercharged C5 Z06, you will have the opportunity to bid on this car, but you're going to have to head over to eBay Motors. And if you're just curious about what the end product looks like, there will be plenty of detailed photos in that listing of this thing all cleaned up, looking fantastic. You may have noticed the guys up at Complete Street Performance doing a little bit of filming on their own. If you want to head over to their channel, they have a little bit more in-depth video about what it took to get the car back on the road, swapping the injectors, diagnosing a couple of the sensors that had issues, so on and so forth. So if you really enjoyed the journey that the C5 went on, head over to their channel to check out a little bit more content on it. You all know we have tons of projects going on, occupying every ounce of our time. But when something comes along like this that's got a cool story, you know we can't resist. So if you have something that you think might be up our alley, be sure to reach out. As always, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you in the next video.